Hi, family and friends. Thank you for tuning in or thank you for watching this video that I most likely shared with you. I am anxious because, and yes, I am wearing sunglasses inside for a reason. I am incognito. I am incognito because I have been and remain as clueless as I've always been about my ancestry and my heritage beyond my great great grandparents. But that's about to change in just moments because I received my ancestry DNA results from Ancestry.com and I am about to reveal those results right here on camera with you. So, and also, yes, I am chewing gum because chewing gum helps me to stay focused and kind of, I don't know, it's a control thing. I want to maintain control and composure. I'm not really sure how I'm going to respond or react to these results. So for now, I'm going to chew the gum. So just forgive me for that. I'm not going to chew it like a cow, but I'm chewing. Anyway, let's get to the reason we're here. Give me a moment. Oh, well, I need to remove the rose colored glasses and put on the prescriptions so that I can actually read. Okay, here we go. Man, oh, wow, 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 wow. Okay, well, um, the first thing I see is I am 23% Nigerian. That I could have guessed. I kind of guessed, I may have some Nigerian, but now I know for sure I am 23% Nigerian. I am, oh my God, 21% Ivory Coast, Ghana slash Ghana is how it reads here. Wow. I am 21% Cameroon, Congo. I beat from the Congo. Oh man, it has 9 more regions. So let me see. See full ethnicity estimate. Welcome to Ancestry. Okay, that pause was because a video popped up. Welcome to Ancestry DNA Ethnicity, and I'm not gonna watch the video. It's 2 minutes and 21 seconds, but it says before you take a look at your new ethnicity results, our lead scientist would like to personally give you some insight into how we determine our unique ethnic mix. This short informative video will help you better understand your results so you can get even more out of your family history search. Okay, I'll definitely watch that later, but since we're on camera, wow. Okay, what? Okay. I am 11% Benin, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, slash Togo. I am 3% Africa, South Central, hunter gatherers. Whoa. Then there's a section that says trace regions, and that is 10%. And what trace regions are is these are the regions where you seem to have just a trace amount of genetic ethnicity. There's only a small amount of evidence supporting the regions as part of your genetic ethnicity because both the estimate amount and the range of the estimate are small. It is possible that these regions appear by chance and are not actually part of your genetic ethnicity. Okay, this is really interesting already. Okay, so America. Duh. Okay. No, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't wrong. Okay, so the trace regions are Mali, which shows 4%, and Senegal, which shows 4%. And then Africa, Southeastern Bantu, which shows 2%. America, trace regions, less than 1%, or greater than 1%. Okay. America, trace regions. Oh my God, they have trace regions for America? Oh, snap. Native American. But again, it's greater than 1%, basically around 1%. You know, a lot of black people from the South, especially near Indian or Native American territory, you know, somehow they heard in their family they have some Indian in them. I heard not necessarily in me, but it's indicative that it's in me because I did hear, on a few occasions at least, people in my family refer to my great grandmother that she um, may have had some Indian in her, which would obviously trickle down. But yeah, it only shows about 1%. It says greater than 1%, but 1% is there, not 2% or 4% or 10%, and so on. So, another trace region, Asia, East Asia at that. Another trace region, oh, well, this one shows more likelihood, and I'm not surprised. Europe, 9%. 9% Scandinavian. Wow, okay. And well, 9% European, I'm sorry. That breaks down into 7% Scandinavian and 2% Western Europe. Okay. So what's next to see? Okay. Other regions tested: zero East Europe, zero Great Britain, zero Ireland, zero Finland, zero Northwest Russia, zero Italian, zero Iberian Peninsula, zero European Jewish. Other regions tested: Polynesian, Melanesia, West Asia, and all that's 0%. Other regions tested: Middle East, 0%. Caucasus, I want you to know, it says zero. I have no Caucasoid in me. So, even though I show some trace, or I show up in trace regions in the trace regions of Europe, Scandinavia, and Europe West, it's not Caucasoid. Apparently, I'm going to have to do some research on that. So, wow. Oh, man. Okay, what does all this mean to me? You know, I'll say this. My daughter and I did this testing, and I'm going to reveal her results next. And of course, she's going to do her own reveal, but this is for, those of you, my friends and family. So, um, what does this mean? I didn't know if I was going to cry or, just kind of have some emotions or shock or, I did. I wasn't sure if there was going to be some particular overwhelming emotion. And I'm actually pleasantly pleased that there isn't. There isn't some overwhelming emotion, but there is a peace. And the piece is okay, I've filled in some pieces of the puzzle of, who I am or where I came from, where I originated. And there is, that feels good. And I think it's more accurate and probably what it should be. Um, Now, but does this change anything? There is some empowerment in it, in the feeling, you know. Also, though, you know, we constantly have the conversation about unattainable reparations in America, and that's going to always be a fair and legitimate conversation, question, reason to be frustrated or even angry. Slavery in America is always going to be a part of American history, whether we received or receive reparations or not. It will always be the history. And I found myself asking this question quite recently. So, if it's going to always be the history, whether it's another 2,000 years from now or not, that will always be a piece of the history in America. Um, when is the when do we break that? How long should reparations be paid if they were to be paid? When do we, stop expecting them? With that being said, it will always be the history. It will always have impacted and continues to impact Black Americans. So, um, I said all that to say this experience has demonstrated to me the power of awareness, knowledge, initiative, accountability, responsibility. Like, my grandmother used to say, use what you got, do what you can. And I say that to say we now have the broken scientific barriers where we are able to do this testing, which many of our ancestors couldn't even dream of, didn't even, couldn't even see coming, as possible. They are gone from here and they shed their blood all over this land, nonetheless. But here today, we do have that opportunity. I remember when this first came out, and some of you remember too, there was a show, a television show, and people like Oprah, and, Tyra, I think Tyra Banks. I know that Sail On, Lionel Richie did the testing. I see faces. Byron Allen. Well, no, Byron Allen. Well, I'm sure he did the testing, but he was the host of that show. And if I'm remembering correctly, if I'm remembering, I may be saying that wrong. But in any case, my point is, number we saw that, and that was so exciting to me. I was like, wow. And at that time, I don't know if you remember, but and the internet, yes, it was there, but it was not, everybody didn't have it in their homes, and have a cell phone with internet access everywhere they went at that time. So you may not have been able to, just like you can today, jump on and Google, how much are DNA results. But I remember seeing something, or maybe a commercial, or maybe an ad in a paper or magazine, um, talking about that. And it was like several $100s at that time. Now, so of course I thought, okay, I won't be able to do that. That's a little bit expensive. And then it was still new, and so people were skeptical, rightfully, because you don't really know, like, is this a lie? Is this the truth? Or whatever the case may be. But several years later, let's just say in the last 3 to 5 years, I noticed, of course, we are all on the internet now, and you see all these different things, and these websites talking about it, and I checked the prices then, and it was significantly cheaper, but it was still several $100s. It was like $300-400 at the time, something that I just couldn't spend that kind of money, on that at the time. And then in the last couple of years, I said, okay, I notice now it's more common, people more aware, da da da. It's now the price has gone down some more. At this point, it was, depending on what website you went to, it may have been $200 or maybe 300. And I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. 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 And I've been wanting to do it. And last year I planned to do it, but somehow the time just got away from me. Well, when I ran across an ad where I saw these DNA tests were under $100, I said, okay, no. Me and my daughter, we're gonna do it. I'm not gonna put it off anymore. I'm gonna go. Let me do it right now. And we did it, and here we are today. And I said all that to say that's something, it is a horrible thing. There are people that can never conceive of not knowing anything about yourself or your history, not having a legacy or a family crest, you know, all these things some people just take for granted. They think that everybody has that, and everybody doesn't. Everybody where I come from doesn't even necessarily know both of their parents, so much less their great, 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 and their great, 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 or have a ring or a scarf passed down. So this testing is now available, and it gives us an option to take our legacy, our ancestry into our own hands, at least to some degree. Um, I already noticed when I went to read the results, there was a sidebar there, and it said, you're related to some of these people. So I already know just that DNA alone, and for those who have already taken this test and their DNA matches mine, now we can connect the dots. We may never meet, we may chat, we may message, we may call on the phone and say, hey, cousin, or whatever. But that's something that we now have the power to take into our hands. So I say that to say I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I'm very glad that I took this step. Like, wow, now I'm getting emotional. Believe it. um, I wish my mother was here. I can just see her now. She would be tickled pink. She'd be laughing. She would be rolling, cracking up, stomach hurting, bent over, going, "Girl, you Nigerian," and she'd probably start doing some kind of African dance or something. But I know that I don't know. It's probably too a part of the reason I was definitely compelled to be sure to do this testing, and just you only live once. My mother passing, I'm not going to get into that. Some of you already understand, and you may have experienced great loss as well. So you already know I don't have to explain it any further, but that's that. Like, that's my results. I'm mm, like I'm basically broken down into four parts, like a cup. Yeah, because I'm approximately 25%, or a quarter. I'll say approximately a quarter of. Yeah. Let me see here. I'm gonna go back one more time. Well, I missed something in the very beginning. I am 89% African. Whew. I Wow. I am 89% African. For people who say, I mean, 89%, that's basically 90%, and 10% something else. I am African. Get it correct. Okay. If you just saw my hair, you knew that. But we still have this disease within our own culture, race, where we, light skin, we call people names, light skin, you know, yellow, piss color. I've been called red, which is okay. I don't mind red, but I do not like being called yellow. Well, and as you can see, if you're gonna call me a color, call me caramel. I am more caramel, maybe even toffee. Something that's delicious. You know, yellow, yellow, piss color. Really? That is not cool nor cute. I can't take it. So, cocoa brown, that's fine. Now, I don't know if you're cocoa brown, you may not like it. You may let me know. But regardless, the point is or half white. No, what did they say? Light, bright, almost white. I am not. I've never been light, bright. It's just ridiculous. But that just goes to show you sometimes we just pick the habits up. We hear them around our home, our parents, and that's just like other races who may call us even more intentionally offensive names. Um, Me knowing my ancestry is not going to change the disease called racism in our country. It's not going to, you know, stop in any way the killings of unarmed black men, or stop the fact that although black people excuse me, although white people commit the most crimes in this country, they still have the least percentage in the jail. Blacks dominate being incarcerated. That's not going to change that. That's not going to change the fact that people, a friend of mine was just telling me how, certain names, and I know you've heard it before. Oh, certain names will, on your resume or on a job application, will prevent you from even getting an interview. It will stop you at the door. So if your name is Shaniqua, something where they may be able to assume you are black, that they won't even call you. But I can say, my name, it may not be African sounding, but it's certainly unique. And I had challenges all my life. People couldn't pronounce it, and it's really easy. It really is. It's very easy, but it is what it is. But I said that to say, and like I told my friend, I've pretty much gotten every job I ever applied for. I mean, well, every job that I got, I applied for an interview, got called for an interview, I got hired. So the racism or the level of hatred that it would take for it to be a person to say this is a name that sounds black, so I'm going to tear up their resume and throw it in the trash. That's a mentality that it doesn't matter what your name is. Your name could be Tom Sawyer, and you show up to the interview and you're black. That person, that disease is still there. They're still not going to hire you. So you can't change your culture and your heritage, or discard parts of it. How you're going to be how are you going to be so Afrocentric with your afro or your dreads, or your black skin that you can't change, and your kinky hair, but you're going to discard, I'm not going to call myself this. Either way, you're assimilating to say that people shouldn't name their children what they want to name their children, even though you name your children what you want to name your children. Come on. So, none, you know, all of that to say this: it's not going to change that, but it does change something in me. It I no longer have to feel compelled to say I have no clue about my ancestry. I do. I know where I came from. I'm gonna let that be it. Uh, Cheers. And I'm gonna take these readers off now. I'm not going back to the rosy color. Give me a minute.